is March 14th, which is Pi Day. And if you're a math whiz, you'll know what that means. I am not a math whiz, but I do know that pi is some mathematical equation, 3.14 something, 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 to infinity and beyond. But March 14th, 3.14. So, to that end, we are doing a collaboration, and we're making pie today. Robert from Daybird Avery's put this collaboration together, so I am joining him and whoever else wants to, and we're making a pie for Pie Day. I'm going to be making a sweet potato pie. It's one of my family's favorites. Other than my husband, he doesn't really care for it, but the kids and I love it. I had purchased some organic sweet potato puree around Thanksgiving time. I had purchased 2 cans of it, and you only need 1 can for 1 pie. So I'm going to go ahead and use this up to make this pie today. And the ingredients that you need, of course, is a pie crust, a single pie crust. I am a terrible pie crust maker, so I just went ahead and picked up one of these ready-made pie crusts. I got this from Kroger because I wanted to try the organic brand. Normally I just buy the Great Value brand from Walmart, but I wanted to give this a try. And you're only going to need 1 crust, so I'm going to go ahead and just stick this other crust in the freezer and save it for another time. The rest of the ingredients are salt. You need 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 cup of sugar, and I use the organic sugar, so it's kind of a caramel color, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon nutmeg, 1/2 teaspoon ginger. It calls for butter, but I can't eat butter, so I'm going to use avocado oil instead, 1 tablespoon. Then you're going to need 3 eggs and 1.5 cups of milk. Since this pie is going to be a dairy-free version, I'm going to be using this unsweetened vanilla almond milk. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing you want to do is preheat your oven to 425 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and get my pie crust in my pie pan. Okay, there we go. It's not the fanciest thing in the world, but I did flute the edges a little bit. I couldn't really flute them a lot because it just barely fits in this pan. Okay, so now for the ingredients. It's basically you just dump everything in and mix it up real well. Okay, so in this pan I'm going to go ahead, or this bowl I should say, I'm going to go ahead and dump in this whole can of sweet potato puree. And I'm going to go ahead and add the 1 teaspoon of salt. One and a half cups of the almond milk. Of course, you could always make this with dairy, and in that case you'd just use cow's milk or goat's milk or whatever, an animal milk. And then you would use butter instead of oil. So then you add your 3 eggs, and these are farm eggs, so I'm going to crack them into a separate bowl. just to make sure they're good before I dump them in. Then we're going to add 1 cup of sugar. I think I'm going to go a little shy on the sugar because sweet potatoes are sweet anyway. So I'm probably going to go with more like a 3/4 of a cup. I like to lessen the amount of sugar in my recipes whenever I can. Then you're going to put in the spices, and I'm probably going to go a little heavier on the spices because I do like my pie nice and savory. So I'm going to put a heaping teaspoon of cinnamon. So that's probably more like 2 teaspoons. I'm going to put 1 teaspoon of ginger and 1 teaspoon, or I'm going to go ahead and just put half a teaspoon of nutmeg because nutmeg is very strong. But I'm going to go ahead and just put 1 teaspoon of ginger instead of half. And then I'm going to go ahead and do half a teaspoon of nutmeg. Nutmeg and cloves are very strong spices, so you don't need as much to get the same effect. And then you want 1 tablespoon of an oil, of a fat of some sort. And like I said, if you don't have to do dairy free, you can do butter. And in my case, I'm going to do avocado oil. I like avocado oil because it's fairly tasteless. It does not add any flavors to your baked goods. And then you just want to blend this up really, really well. So once your mixture is thoroughly combined, then you just pour it carefully into your pie shell. Now I always put my pie pans on top of a cookie sheet, especially the custardy type pies, because I hate cleaning my oven, and this will prevent, if anything bubbles over, it will keep my oven clean. So I'm going to go ahead and just pour this in here till it's full. Now, if you don't have canned sweet potato, if you have just sweet potatoes that you got out of your garden or that you bought from the store or whatever, you can still make this pie. You just bake your sweet potatoes. You probably could even cook them in the microwave until they're really, really, really soft. And you peel the skin off and you mash them up into a puree. And you would need 1 3/4 cups of sweet potato puree. No matter how you get your puree, that's how much you need. So what you're going to do now is you're going to put this in an oven that's been preheated to 425 degrees, and you bake it for 45 to 55 minutes until the knife inserted comes out clean. Now it could take longer than that, just depends. Typically mine take about an hour. But I'm going to go ahead and get this put in the oven, and then when it's all done, I'll bring you back and I will let you know how long it took for it to be cooked completely done. So hang on and we'll be back. It is done. It was in the oven for 1 hour and 5 minutes. If you put a knife in, it comes out clean. I think the reason why my custard pies take longer than the recipe says is because of using the almond milk. If you use like evaporated milk or cow's milk, I think it would cook faster. But anyway, it is done. For the last 10 minutes I did put foil over it because, as you can see, the crust got pretty brown, but I think that's because it was in there longer, and plus this was that organic crust, so it was darker to begin with. It must be made with like a whole wheat type flour. But there it is. There is my sweet potato pie. We are going to just really enjoy this. We probably will not dig into it till tomorrow because it's kind of late in the day now, and I like my sweet potato pie to be nice and room temperature when we cut into it. I want to thank Robert from Daybird Aviaries for coming up with this Pie Day collaboration idea. I will leave a link to his channel in the description box below, and you can check him out. And I believe he's going to put a playlist together of everyone who is participating in this collaboration. Thanks a lot for watching, friends, and we will talk to you later. Bye-bye.